Okay, so this is a representation of a stegosaurus. Notice the head that looks like a horse, plates on its back, and spikes on its tail. This is going to be a little bit of talk about a collected works in ancient Ireland called The Annals of Ireland. There was an actual book called The Annals of Ireland, but there was also added to it in total the Chronicles of Roscommon and 4 or 5 other books. The reason I'm bringing this up is they talk about a creature that was roaming around Ireland that had the head of a horse, plates on its back, and iron spikes on its tail. It was a dinosaur, and the word dinosaur didn't appear till about the 1850s. And before that, every culture had them, and they called them dragons, and sometimes they called them monsters. Now, this is generally regarded as a herbivore, but a big scary thing like this, people would try to kill it, obviously. And during mating season, I mean, you've seen what deer have done to people when they get aroused. You've seen them tearing up the hunters that just happen to get real close. And so, yeah, you'd become the local hero if you killed the strange creature with the head of a horse, plates on his back, and iron spikes on its tail. So dinosaurs lived up with man till recently. I mean, you can look at the soft dinosaur tissue that was found by Mark Armitage, Dr. Mary Schweitzer, Jack Horner. They're finding soft dinosaur tissue all the time. I'd like to throw this out there for you to check on. They seized the most complete T-Rex skeleton ever found, Sue, from the Dakotas, and gave it to the Chicago Museum. The FBI seized it, made up a bogus charge about it. The reason I believe that they seized it, it was the most complete T-Rex skeleton ever found. It was probably the youngest. It probably had a whole lot of tissue in it. Now, they find the tissue in the long bones that aren't fossilized. Fossilization requires certain things to happen for it to occur. It's a process. It has to be a lot of minerals in the soil. It has to be deposited rapidly. There's an area called the Hell Creek Formation. The guys that work there like to call it the Smell Creek Formation, because when they break open by mistake the bones, there's trapped gases from the putrefaction of the stuff that hasn't actually fossilized. It's non-fossilized tissue. It's not alive or anything, but there is no mechanism by where flesh could survive in any way, shape, or form for 65 million years. So the timelines are all wrong. The Bible mentions dragons in the book of Job and several other places. Now, sometimes those are metaphorical allusions to Satan, but sometimes they're talking about actual animals like Behemoth in the book of Job. Behemoth is obviously a dinosaur. It had a tail like a weaver beam, and it was the chief of God's animals. And they'll try to get around and say it was a elephant. Well, an elephant's got a tail about 2 feet long, and this dinosaur, it doesn't have a particularly long tail, yet you can call this a weaver's beam. A weaver's beam was what they used to spin carpet and linen back in the day, and some of them, were up to 15 feet long. So the elephant did not have a weaver's beam for a tail, but the dinosaur did. The Leviathan did. Excuse me. But anyway, dinosaurs have lived up with man up until recently. There's still probably some in the water. There might still be some in that giant swamp in the Congo. There's tales of a thing called the Mohili Membi, which all the descriptions fit a sauropod. And there's descriptions of a creature that could easily be a pterodactyl type animal that they call the Condamato, or the Ropen in Borneo. That island's hardly ever been explored. It would make sense that they would last longer than other animals because they can fly away to different environments. Pliny the Elder talked about dragons. Alexander the Great chronicled them as he was invading India. Anyway, check out more. If you would, I'd like you to do 3 things: share, like, and subscribe. And thank you. I'm out.